They're importing their own gold. They just don't have enough places to put it. So they're putting it in all these Chinese banks are going to be required to hold this gold that's coming in by the boatload into China. Why is Tim so negative on silver?
Yes.
Okay, let me say it again. I want silver to stay down so everybody in this community can accumulate whatever they need before it goes up. Period.
What does it take to deal in this type of environment?
Well, yeah, I can give you a good example. The wholesaler is paying, let's say, $15 to $20 back, and I'm just using an example. It's not necessarily what they're paying.
Okay.
For something like crew grants. And then you have a customer, a good customer who has been a good customer who's not from around here, somewhere in the western part of the country, who's got crew grants to sell. And everybody he calls says, no, I'm not buying them. I'm not buying them. So then, even though I'm in New Hampshire and he's out west, he calls me and he says, can you give me a quote on what you would pay for a crew grant? So I give him a quote. He said, can I send you 100 of them?
Whoa.
And, when I give somebody a quote, I want to honor the quote. And I come say, well, no, that's a different story. I don't want 100. So I've bought hundreds of crew grants. Wow. But look at the amount of money that's being tied up. They're not that far below spot. And I pay usually at or above spot, or if the wholesale is below spot, then I'll pay whatever that price is. But it ties up a lot of money. Now, am I concerned about that? Not really, because I have a pension from IBM and I collect Social Security, and I rarely spend any money on myself.
You don't, I know.
Until one of my daughters decides to go to a Formula One race, then I spend the money. If I decide one day to retire, I have a lot of gold in the safe, so I'm not that worried about buying it.
There will be a national day of mourning when that day comes. I'm just letting you know, Tim.
Well, the fact is, you're tying up a lot of money. And it doesn't matter if it's gold or silver bars. I'm looking at how much money I got tied up in the 100-ounce bars. And you saw that box of kilos.
Right.
Look how much money I've got tied up in kilos. It's probably about 40 kilos now, maybe more than that. But the fact remains, no matter what people are selling, you're tying up a lot of money.
So on that point, I had somebody email me and saying, boy, I would love to be able to be a local coin shop dealer, just like Tim. What's the barrier of entry? If somebody's really wanting to do what you're doing, it's a significant investment, no?
Yeah, if I had to do it now, I wouldn't do it. I just wouldn't do it. It takes too much capital, way too much capital. And first of all, where are you going to get the capital from? Well, when you spend everything that you've accumulated and then you have to go out and borrow more, that's the problem. When your profit is 1.5% on a gold coin, you need to borrow a lot of money to get in that game. And what I did back during COVID, I paid down my debt, and I didn't let, whatever came in the door, I put it away, because I got rid of my line of credit. But that's, anybody who's in any kind of business for themselves has really got to revise how they're thinking.
You have been really right about what gold and silver have been doing. I mean, I know you don't like to predict stuff, but dude, do you have a crystal ball in your store?
No, but when it gets up, when there's no reason for it to go up the way it's been going up, then take a look at the short interest in gold. And when it gets to the highest point, and that was around 25 or somewhere in there.
It's a little higher, yeah.
Suddenly the short interest in gold doubles, triples. That means there's a bigger short coming. It's going up every day by, $5, $10, whatever it is. And then all of a sudden turns and goes down. That's when I think maybe they're not all playing the same game together. When I went to bed last night, I saw that it had softened. It was going down a little bit. And then when I got up, it had gone down dramatically. It got down. It was almost $40 down today, but it recovered, so it was down a little less than $30, I think it was. That's what I would expect, but I also expect another day of $30 to $40 down. For your purposes and my purposes and all the people who are following your channel, we want the metals to stay down so everybody has a chance to protect themselves.
That's a very good point.
And, not have to buy in at some high price, like, $25.50 or whatever it is. And then find out that, it goes right back to the 200-day moving average. And now you have to sell something for a real estate project, and it's, you're losing $100 a coin.
I just read an article from the global news site Semaphore. It says that Kamala Harris is likely heading back to the tax policies put forth by good old Joe Biden. First one is a huge 28% corporate tax. Also, this is an insane 44.6% capital gains tax. Almost half. That's crazy.
That will end investment. It's an investment in a home. You buy your first home and you're thinking, well, maybe down the road, when we have 3 or 4 kids and we need a bigger house, we can sell it for a profit. Don't count on it.
Exactly. But then there's this unprecedented, unconstitutional 25% tax on unrealized capital gains. So you speak of that house, you don't even have to sell it. If it appreciates in value, they're going to come after it. There you go. We got to tax that. Can you imagine starting a business, a coin shop? And you work hard, you reinvest your money, and let's say it grows to, I don't know, $8 million company, right? That's the value of it. The federal government's going to come knocking on your door every year and go, we need $2 million.
Soviet Marxism. It's exactly what that is. Well, the IRS has already started that. It's in the FACTA laws. Now, I meant to get them before coming over here. Under Obama, they passed laws to make a holding of a foreign account, like a Swiss bank account, illegal for American citizens. And they forced banks, like Swiss banks, to open up their accounts to the IRS. And that put a lot of people in serious difficulty, because what they did was they got a hold of all the times you visited a safe deposit box in Switzerland, and they computed the capital gains from that day forward. And I've seen people whose lives were destroyed by those laws. They don't care, because the IRS gathered up all that money, everything you had, everything you own. They computed the gains and took it from you.
In their woke ideology, Tim, they are hell-bent on levying a wealth tax. It is going to destroy entrepreneurship. It is going to completely get rid of the last vestiges that we have of a free market economy. Cannot let that happen.
Everybody should look at Kamala's description of equity. She says, doesn't matter where you came from or what you have, everyone will end up in the same place. That is Soviet Marxism, okay? In the Communist Manifesto, Marx said, from each according to his ability, to each according to their need or his need. And that is what Kamala Harris is talking about. She said, doesn't matter what you have or don't have, you'll all be the same in the end. Okay? Now, what she's not telling you, because she probably doesn't know, she's not very well educated, is that in that process of taking from the rich and giving to the poor, or whatever you want to call it, millions of people died under Stalin following that policy. And Kamala just thinks, well, that doesn't apply to me. I can become a billionaire. It's not us we're talking about. It's everybody else. She doesn't know that that's not how it works. And anybody who came from any one of those Eastern European countries and lived under communism can tell you exactly what's going to happen if you pursue a policy like that.
At best, they don't understand the basics of economics and voluntary transactions. At worst, they are intentionally trying to destroy free market capitalism. This I believe it's intentional. These are people that haven't so much as run a lemonade stand, Tim. Yep. They don't know what they're doing, or if they do know what they're doing, they are intentionally trying to destroy us.
That is true.
They are also talking about trying to price fix everything, whether it be the grocery store, rents. They think that they know better what the price of a loaf of bread should be than the person buying and selling. They'll attack grocery stores right now, and their profit margins are like 2 to 3%. Seriously, 2 to 3. You were talking about your margin. 1.5%. You were saying you're trying to get on a gold coin.
1.5%.
1.5%.
That means if you sell $1 million worth of gold, you get $15,000 in return.
You are corporate. You're a corporate, greedy corporate person here.
That's called price gauging.
I sent you a couple other articles that I want your input on, right? So one of them was this. China issues new gold import quotas after pause. The new quotas aimed at helping the PBOC control how much bullion enters the world's leading consumer of precious metals were granted in August after a 2-month pause, largely due to slower physical demand in the wake of bullish market. Wow. Now they have quotas.
Number one, we're talking import quotas. China has thousands of gold mines all around the world. So who are they importing this from? Themselves. They're importing their own gold from themselves. They're not buying it from the United States or any other country. They're mining it in Africa, Australia, Mexico, wherever they are mining it, all throughout South America. They're importing their own gold. They just don't have enough places to put it. So they're putting it in all these Chinese banks are going to be required to hold this gold that's coming in by the boatload into China. All this gold is being repatriated to China, and they're telling the banks, hey, we got no place for it, so you guys hold it.
Do you think this is...
If it's heavily controlled by the CCP, yes.
And do you think it's sort of a strategic move against us?
If it's out in the market, it will have a tendency to depress the price of gold, and that's not what they're trying to do. They're just trying to get all the gold they can get their hands on before it's too late.
Now, I also saw this article out of the Jerusalem Post. This is China's strategic silver takeover, a calculated move to drain the West. So this article says, in addition to its gold hoarding, China has also been strategically increasing its silver reserves. The Shanghai Metals Exchange has seen a significant surge in silver trading volume, with prices consistently higher than those on Western exchanges. This suggests that China may be deliberately driving up the price of silver to drain the West's resources. Does that sound right to you?
I still think it's their own silver that they're repatriating. I don't think they can compete with a COMEX, honestly. COMEX will still set the price.
COMEX wins.
And the COMEX is almost already drained. So if the Chinese think they're going to drain the COMEX, they're
a little late.
They're late to the game. That ship has sailed.
The rising price of silver could have significant implications for Western economies, particularly those that rely heavily on industrial metals. There's that industrial demand, right?
Yeah.
If the price of silver continues to rise, it could increase production costs for a wide variety of industries, from electronics to solar panels. This could lead to higher consumer prices and a further slowdown.
Yeah. How fast is the solar panel industry growing? And where is it from? Is the silver from China? Where are the solar panels coming from?
China has produced so many solar panels that some Chinese citizens have put them to use as garden fences.
There you go.
About 80% of all panels made in the world originates From China.
From China. That's exactly right. And that's my total point. Now, they have all these silver reserves and they have all these solar panels. So how's that going to affect the price of silver in my store? Not at all. The reserves are plenty to make lots more solar panels that the world doesn't need.
You are staunchly in the camp that industrial demand and supply are not going to be driving the price of silver very high.
No, the COMEX controls the price of silver.
Yep.
That's their privilege. And it's not coincidental that the NYMEX and the CME are posting the same prices. They all go up together and they go down together. Just look at the price of silver today as it went all the way up to $30. Looked like it was going to go gangbusters all the way up to $40. And where is it? Now it's 28 something.
You got beaten down. All right. So one other thing that it really has affected the metals is how the economy
By
is.
the way,
Okay.
last
I was going to
time
move on, but you're
last
already
time I-
your wheels are turning. I can
last
tell. You
time
got
I
more.
talked like this,
Yes.
we had this revolution brewing in your community.
Yes.
Why is Tim so negative on silver?
Yes.
Okay, let me say it again. I want silver to stay down so everybody in this community can accumulate whatever they need before it goes up. Period.
I love it. And it is going to eventually go up.
Eventually it'll go up.
It eventually could get very
'Cause I think the COMEX is going to work a deal with China so if they can borrow some of their silver. Because they're fully drained already.
Last question from me, Tim. The economy.
Yeah.
It is bad.
It's,
They put
it's-
lipstick on a peg for
No,
quite a
wait
while
second,
now.
Wait a second. By every measure, this is a quote, by every measure, our economy is the strongest in the world. That's a quote from Biden and Kamala. By every measure, our economy is the strongest in the world.
By the number of revisions that we just saw from the Labor Department on non-farm
There's
payroll.
so much more of that out there. They let
What?
everybody who was working from home, who went back to work in an office, that was counted as a brand new job created by the Biden administration. I mean, this is so much BS. Everything they claim is last month we had 235 brand new jobs. And what she say the other day, we created 16 million new jobs. At the same day, we found out that 1 million of those jobs were phony. They lie about everything. If you watch the DNC tonight, their convention, everything out of their mouths is nothing but a lie. Kamala has all these great plans to rebuild the economy, to stop inflation. Well, she's been there for 3 years and 8 months, and she still has 4 months. Why didn't she try one of these policies and see what it does? These people are full of BS, and all they can do is lie about everything. End of story.